You need a masculine and you need a feminine. And so I just want to make that clear. I love men, and especially those men that are really pursuing their divine masculine and their connection with God the Father. They are so valuable and important.
Yeah. Megan, I think I learned this the hard way, which is typically how I learn things. But uh, because I was raised by a feminist mother, she just expected me to be a breadwinner and to take care of my family. I was raised by a single mom. And so that was just the example that was set to me. I never questioned, I never thought, oh, I'm going to stay at home. And it did come across as sadly a kind of a less than, like I wouldn't be good enough if I stayed home with my children. Mom expected me to go out and earn a wage. I went into an engineering role where I was the only female pretty much in most of the courses I took in college. And then when I started working, there were very few women in my field. I would say that over those years, what I learned is that I really betrayed myself in trying to fit into that masculine environment. It was more like I'm going to try and be like a man instead of how do I embrace the feminine side of me to be successful in this environment. That
Mhm.
wasn't a thing because I didn't have that pattern or that modeling. So it wasn't until many, many years later, 40, that I learned I really need to accept who I am and embrace who I am and to use my feminine traits in leadership roles. But that isn't how I lived my career for the most part. I was mostly
Mhm.
trying to fit into a man's world. And it is a betrayal of self. It took a lot of healing for me to really get back. And now I'm really passionate about embracing my feminine side and nurturing that side of me. And I'm much more of a nurturer now. I see that I betrayed myself over in that environment, I guess I would say.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you're not alone. We're in a world right now that definitely prioritizes and emphasizes and encourages masculinity in women.
Well, yes,
And
and that
what's
they can do it all, because that's what I was convinced of, is that I could be all things to all people,
right.
and feminine. And like I said, I really betrayed the parts of me that I needed to be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and what I would say too is I think that there's a shred of truth in that women can, to some degree, do it all. What they don't tell you, which I think is kind of the fine print on the offering, right, is that there is a cost.
Yeah.
And what I have learned is that not doing it all is actually very important for me and for my spiritual development.
If I could tell the younger generations one thing, it would be just exactly what you're saying is yes, you can, but there's a cost. And when
Yeah.
you get to be my age, you'll realize that you cheated yourself out of being who you truly are.
Hmm. Yeah.